The fight for justice and equality may seem never ending. When some take a few steps forward, it can be followed by several steps back. And this goes for everything from the civil rights era to the fight to legalize gay marriage. Photographer Rick Smolan has been chronicling that fight for justice in a new book called The Good Fight, America's Ongoing Struggle for Justice. And today he joins us via Skype to talk about that book. Thank you so much for being here. Just first off, I want to start with what you learned when you were writing this book. How far have we come or not when it comes to combating hatred and injustice?
Well, when we started this book, Christina, the idea was to look back over 100 years and say, would you rather be a woman or gay or Jewish or Muslim or African American or Latino American or Native American in 1918 or 2018? And when you ask people a question that way, obviously we've made tremendous progress over the last 200 years, but by no means have we solved all the problems. And I think a lot of us have been watching what's happening in Washington over the last year with our new president and feeling like so many of the things that we thought had been not solved, but at least were moving in the right direction, have now started sliding backwards in a really dangerous and disturbing way. So the point of doing this book, The Good Fight, America's Ongoing Struggle for Justice, was to remind us of how recent some of these advances are and how fragile they are. And that, I don't know about you, but I was never particularly involved in politics. I really thought that was really, my vote really didn't count. I didn't think, that one vote out of 300 million people would make a real difference. But I think what's happening, the threats against so many different groups of Americans right now have woken up many Americans to feel like our politicians are not doing the job and that we individually need to march or write a book or call our congressmen or senators or stand up for other groups, not just our own group. Because, I think we've all learned that, that these things are sequential and that if we allow Muslims to be persecuted against, then the next group will be also prejudiced against. I'm going to be moderating a wonderful panel at the Commonwealth Club next Tuesday night on May 1st. And with me is going to be DeRay McKesson, who does Pod Save the People, Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the Anti-Defamation League, Ray Suarez, a wonderful national journalist. And I hope that people are interested in these topics will come in and meet my guests.
Yeah,
we're going to be telling stories and showing pictures.
Can you talk about the role social media has played, whether or not this is good or bad, and how it plays into how we interact with each other every day when it comes to hatred and justice?
Sure. Jonathan Greenblatt, who's the head of the Anti-Defamation League, has a wonderful quote, which is that, racists and bigots used to hide behind their hoods. The KKK used to hide behind their hoods, and now they're hiding behind their browsers and behind their cell phones. This idea of being able to anonymously attack people is really terrifying. The book talks about problems. It also talks about heroes, people like Muhammad Ali, who were inspiring to so many people. It talks about the internment of the Japanese, but it also has a wonderful essay by George Takei, Lieutenant Zuru on Star Trek, talking about the fact that he actually grew up in a Japanese internment camp when he was 5 years old, and yet how patriotic he and other people who were rounded up and basically imprisoned for 2 years feel about America. This is the book, The Good Fight, is really a story of inclusion. Also, I should mention, any of your listeners or viewers, you can point your smartphone at up to 63 different pictures in the book, and it plays TED Talks and YouTube videos and portions of documentaries. So it's sort of it's a smartphone-enabled book. It's really delightful.
All right, and I also want to mention that proceeds from the book go to the Anti-Defamation League. Author Rick Smolan, thank you so much for joining us today.